Yeah, do you have your bag of marbles,
Which-
you made? Just throw it out.
No, I sold it.
Oh,
No, you sold your bag of marbles.
Tragic. Hey guys, I am Jordy. Welcome to the first episode of the Pull 10 podcast. We are going to be talking about Classic Plus for weeks and months to come. I would like to introduce you guys to my co-host, Jordy and Ren Cognito. Jordy's down here, Ren's over there. They are going to be joining me on this journey together. And today we have a very special first guest, and I hope you guys are aware of his series because it's my favorite thing on YouTube right now, GBay99. So we're going to go around and kind of give a little bit of a intro for everybody and get everybody a chance to speak, but very excited to have everybody here. We'll be doing these podcasts every week, so that's going to be something that you guys can look forward to in your feed. Everything will get uploaded to all of the socials, Spotify, YouTube, all that stuff. So welcome. We're very excited to be here, and we're partnering with Wowhead. Thankfully, they're giving us a little boost of energy. So Wowhead, thank you so much. All right, why don't we start with GBay, and then we'll get into the hosts. GBay, what's up? How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm having a lot of fun. A lot of fun playing WoW. A lot of fun playing all the Warcraft games lately. Actually, it's a world that you just keep diving into, and yeah, it doesn't have an end.
Yet. All right, Jordy, what's up?
Oh, hi. I'm Jordy. I'm the browner version of Jordy, and equally as handsome. And I am a Wowhead writer, method writer now too. And I'm playing WoW for 20 years. Started back in TBC pre-patch. Like retail, but Classic's just always been my home.
I know his name is Jordy, and I'm Jordy. We're gonna get over it, okay? We're going to we're going to beat this challenge together and enunciate our names. It's gonna be tough. But then we have Rennie.
Sorry.
What's up?
Hi. Can I swear in here?
Fuck yeah.
What the fucky is uppy? It's Rennie with the Henny. I actually started my World of Warcraft journey back during COVID. It was during Classic Reboot, and I am, to my detriment, a Ret Paladin main. So I've been playing in multiple NA speedrun, top NA speedrun guilds here and there, but I've kind of slowed down. But that's my WoW history.
Somehow we have two Paladin mains on this podcast. We're completely fucked. But
Paladins are awesome.
we will fight on. Okay. So we want to get into a lot about Classic Plus, but I think the beauty of this first episode, having GBay as a guest, is his journey has been so profoundly pure. He's in the early game. He's got that like amazing experience that we all had when we were kids. And GBay, do you mind if we play a quick little supercut of you just to kind of get people up to speed and a little bit of your vibe before we get into hearing about what you've been up to?
Yeah, of course. Go right ahead.
Hell yeah. Okay, here we go.
You know, a funny thing about my experience playing Classic WoW for the first time is I've started to learn I might be more positive about this game than most WoW players are. And I'm only 1 hour in. This journey hasn't even really begun. Which, side note, can I say how much I love how long the flights in this game take? It is so cool that the game gives you these moments of peace where you're forced to wait. Another super cool, awesome system that makes the world feel so realistic. God, okay, stay focused. Don't get distracted. God, I love seeing the same player players around on these servers. And that's when I saw this game has a day-night cycle, which, oh my god, I don't know if I can accurately describe how cool this is for a new player. So I'm giddy as I take the report and run straight for the keep, this time heading straight down the hall, ready to meet whoever the ruler of all the land is. That's it? Is that really the end of the story? There's no follow-up quest? That can't actually be the grand finale, can it? I was left on edge again. The game keeps edging me.
I'm sorry. The game keeps edging me is so accurate. But yeah, man, welcome. We're excited to talk to you.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here. It's funny that, all these years I feel like I had the complete wrong idea about World of Warcraft. I just through cultural osmosis, I'd always heard over the years that WoW was the game where you were just told to kill 10 boars over and over and then take some item back and complete your quests, and that's all that you do in the game. And it is maybe just because my expectations were so low that when I started playing it, it has blown me away how much more there is to it than my first thoughts.
What was it exactly that gave you that impression before you got to play the game? Like,
it might be a mixture of all the various different ways that WoW has been parodied through culture, through the South Park episode, of course, I saw. I've heard all sorts of references and jokes, and in general, people talk about MMO quests as they talk about WoW quests, because WoW was such a cultural institution that solidified so much of what at least a theme park MMO is meant to look like, that oftentimes when people boil it down to its most basic elements, you get this, misunderstanding of how much more thought and effort and care and how much more substance there is to it than what you might feel from the jokes that everybody makes about it.
sure.
Yeah, well, it's funny because like I used to play old school RuneScape. That's what I played first, back when it was just RuneScape, and my mom thought it caused viruses and stuff like that. So I only played it when she wasn't home. And that was back when someone called on the phone, you lost your internet. And I saw the episode of South Park and I was like, this game looks so fucking sick. I want to play this so bad. So I started WoW because of the South Park episode, and I wanted to be the dwarf because Cartman was a dwarf. It made me laugh. So I started playing, and my friends and I started playing, and just me and my brother, every Saturday, it was just like, Saturday morning was, we get 2 hours of WoW because my mom put a timer on it back when the parent restrictions were a thing. And I just fell in love with it. Like I had, like, embarrassing enough when I was a kid, I had like Lego sets I'd make WoW characters with, and like I was just hooked. I was on MMO Champion reading the next, like, what's the next expansion? What's the next expansion? I've been obsessed with it for 20 years, man.
I'm not gonna lie, I was a D1 hater originally. Like, I thought that the graphics were awful, and I was like, why would I ever play that game when, like, all these other games exist? But then, like, after playing it, I feel like the shitty graphics, the classic graphics, are part of the charm. Does that make sense?
No, yeah.
It certainly makes sense.
Like when you play Gary's mod and it's like, everything's square and pixelated.
Yeah, this is my soapbox. I love low poly games. I love the comparison. I say low poly games are like an impressionist painting or something, where sure, it might not look realistic, but you can see the individual brushstrokes that an artist made in creating it. I'll never be able to get enough of low poly games. I can always look past graphics for not being as impressive as other AAA titles, but I can't understand why it is a barrier for many others.
I think there's some like unique beauty of a low poly game too, because as long as it gets the point across, it's timeless, right? Like the current games are chasing like a graphical fidelity that is at some point going to be a problem, right? Because you're gonna be like, oh, this game doesn't look modern, and like that becomes like a thing. But with the way that I think WoW is animated and drawn, like it's artistic and isn't intended to necessarily be true to life, which makes it more timeless. And so I don't know, it's something that I really think that like gives it a staying power that a lot of MMOs like Lord of the Rings Online or even EverQuest don't quite have because of those like less. I mean, maybe EverQuest isn't the best example, but you know what I mean.
I totally get what you're saying, because like there were like everyone's in the Unreal Engine now, and every game like looks the same like nowadays. And I'm just so over it. And you get games like WoW, and I said this to my friends a while back. It's like World of Warcraft and then rest in peace New World were like two games that just looked different. And then when I look at other MMOs, I'm like, if you just share this picture of a generic MMO, I could guess 5 MMOs that it could be. But you know what World of Warcraft is. It just, especially Classic, you know what WoW Classic looks like.
Absolutely. Okay, so G-Bay, where does your name come from?
Yeah, so my name comes from sports. I'm a huge fan of the Green Bay Packers.
Oh.
I think the first
Ah.
username I ever needed to make was for RuneScape, and up until then, I like when I would play Halo with friends at someone's house. I would just my real name's Nathaniel. I would just use Nate as my handle, but I needed something a little more obscure and a little more unique when creating my first username. And I thought of G-Bay just because I'm a big fan of the Green Bay Packers, and G-Bay was already taken, so I just added 99 to the end with no real purpose to it. Just needed some numbers as you do. Yeah, that's where it comes from.
I thought it was like a play on eBay. Like you were an eBay fanatic. Like, oh yeah, G-Bay. Yeah, that's cool. Green Bay Packers. That's cool.
And you're not 27, right? I would assume 99 is not
No.
your birth year. So.
It is not my birth year.
Okay.
That's what everybody always assumes. Everyone always thinks it's either the birth year or that it's because 99 was max skills in RuneScape. But
Oh, there you go.
yeah, there was no thought to the numbers. I just wanted something that didn't look like, you know, a million strings of numbers.
Sure. All right, Ren, you wanna get started on the next question?
All right. What are your first impressions on Classic? And are there any quality of life changes that you would want to do or like to see implemented?
You know, it's tough to say. Like, well, my first impressions of Classic are just I'm shocked at how dense and how much depth there feels like there is to WoW. Like I've always heard people talk about theme park MMOs, because I played a number of MMOs over the years, but I never really played. I never played WoW and hadn't really spent a lot of time in other theme park MMOs. And I'd always assumed that theme park MMOs were very artificial, that you would place quest givers and mobs in certain areas just for the sake of having something for players to do. And so it's been shocking to me to play through WoW and realize that every city has so much lore that you can dive into. Every mob has a story and a reason it's there, and history that you can go read 20 lore books about. And I mean, it shocked me how much depth the world itself has that really makes it feel like it comes alive. And I mean, there certainly is a lot of friction that I've experienced when playing it, but whatever friction there's been, like I've just been so hooked on wanting to explore the world more and see more that there is, that I will push through whatever difficult, you know, quality of life issues there might be that stand in my way. I think just because it's I don't know, it's like a great tasty meal or something that I've just taken the first bite. I just want to dive in more.
Elaborate on what a theme park MMO means, because that's the first time I've ever heard of that.
Yeah, so I've always heard MMOs branched into one of two categories. You have sandbox MMOs and theme park MMOs, and I've heard different definitions attributed to each over the years. But to my understanding, when someone talks about a sandbox MMO, there's very little developer direction telling players where they go and what they can do. And a classic example might be RuneScape. Some people call it sandbox, some people call it a curated sandbox. But you know, in RuneScape, when you make a character, you're plopped into the world, and there is low and high level content scattered scattered all throughout the map. You're pretty much free to go wherever you want. You can go train whatever skill you want. There is sort of an optimal path that you could choose to go down if it's your 5th account or something, but you're basically free to go wherever you want. Whereas a theme park MMO is a little more structured, like a theme park where there are sort of designated zones where a player will start in one area and then sort of be nudged into another and kind of guided a little more strictly from a developer's hand. And I've always taken that guidance to mean there's less room to explore, less inventive playstyle opportunities for players, but at least WoW does not seem to have that stigma that I thought that theme park MMOs traditionally have.
So theme park MMOs would be categorized as like vertical progression versus like RuneScape, which is more horizontal, right?
Yeah, I think that's probably another very. I mean, they probably go hand in hand. Yeah.
Okay.
I think like the subsequent expansions after vanilla can feel very theme parky because you kind of get forced to sit on a giant island, right? And it's just like, okay, we're on this island for 2 years and then we go to another island for 2 years, and but like the size of Azeroth and the scope of the leveling range and the fact that you kind of have to go all over the place to like do a bunch of different stuff makes it definitely feel less theme park for just vanilla specifically, I think. Even though I think strictly will still be considered that. But it's tough. It's tough, right? Like finding that balance of sandbox and theme park will be something that for Classic Plus, I think Blizzard's going to probably try to do. And it's going to be difficult, I would imagine, for them to figure that out.
And by horizontal progression, I mean like being able to get Ash Candy and it still being useful, or like getting Staff of Jordan and it's still relevant in later like time period of like later phases. That's what I mean by like
horizontal. Could you explain what horizontal progression is in like something like RuneScape and what that looks like?
Yeah, so RuneScape's really a big game when it comes to horizontal progression. I mean, in RuneScape, there's so much content, and there's no real right way to sort of go through it that you're kind of free to pick and choose what you want. But generally speaking, in RuneScape, there isn't really content that people would call dead or irrelevant. Oftentimes, as you're acquiring items, you're still using those items even when you acquire other items that might be better, because there's different use cases that each item will have. You know, the classic example being that the melee attack weapons have either crush attack, slash attack, or stab attack, and then different bosses are going to be weaker to different weapons. So you kind of want to make sure that, you know, just because you get an upgrade, if it's a crush weapon, that doesn't mean you sell all your stab weapons or anything like that. And in general, you know, there's a variety of different use cases for all the different weapons and armor that you have over the course of your play style. So acquiring something new feels like progression, even if it isn't necessarily making you like better, in that it makes everything you've done already useless or irrelevant. But again, these are all terms that a lot of different people have different definitions they like to ascribe to them.
I do like that aspect of RuneScape, like old school RuneScape, being able to use old items and they're still, you know, relevant and useful.
Yeah, there's like even in playing the Burning Crusade Anniversary right now, like top guilds will use Annihilator for armor penetration. They'll go to AQ 40 to get Badge of the Swarm Guard because it has armor penetration on it, and you'll go to AQ for your tanks to get the Scarab trinket that increases your magic resistance, and that helps you in fights like Hydros. That's, you know, all elemental damage. Leotheris, or if you want a 2-tank Illidan, you want your tanks to have that trinket that's level 60, even though that was from a previous version. You're level 70, you're going to old content to get that. Although some people don't like that, especially with Badge of the Swarm Guard, I think it's cool to go to old stuff to use it for newer content. Like AQ came out like probably when did AQ come out? 05 originally?
Just for the record,
and then
G-Bay doesn't know any of this, so we gotta.
Sorry.
You're speaking like Japanese to him, so
sorry.
But I do think like
the general audience,
trinkets specifically in Classic, I think are the most horizontal progression of the gear that we have, right? Like there's a lot of trinkets you pick up in a lot of various places that have like good use in a random fight in a raid, right? There's a boss in AQ that spams poison, and there's a trinket that removes 1 poison from you, and like so you'll go into Maraudon and get that trinket when you're doing AQ, which is like a the third of 4 raids, and you're using a level 50 trinket. So like that stuff's really fun, I think. And I hope they're able to continue that in Classic. I mean, dude, G-Bay, have you done a Wrathy yet?
Or I don't think so.
I mean,
I've
Wrathy
stepped foot in
Highlands. You've walked around.
Or yeah, I've walked around the
Okay,
Arathi
yeah.
Islands. Yeah.
So not to spoil it, but there's a harbor that you can. There's like a little questing area, and there's a rare mob that spawns down there that only spawns once every 3 days, and it drops a level 30 something trinket called Tidal Charm, and it on use stuns a target for 3 seconds. And like in PvP, that can be the best trinket you have at level 60. Just stuff like that is just, it's so fun. I love that shit. Like people camp that stuff for months when vanilla launched. Like
I wish WoW had more things like that, like across
Yes.
all items.
yeah, totally.
Like Bag of Marbles, I use at level 60.
Yeah, do you have your bag of marbles,
Which-
you made? Just throw it out.
No, I sold it.
Oh,
I
No,
vended
you
it.
sold your
tragic.
bag of marbles. No.
Tragic. So when there's an extremely hard hitting boss called Patchwork in Max Ramus, and week 1 when you're going into it with the last tier's gear, Bag of Marbles reduces the target's chance to hit by 50 or whatever it is. And week 1 we would do a Bag of Marbles rotation on Patchwork so that it had a lower chance of doing damage and you could get through the fight. Yeah, you could use a Bag of Marbles in TBC. We had Bag of Marbles for Brutalis, the last raid in TBC. Like, I love that stuff. And you only got one of them. Or
Or Ravager.
Ravager, Light of a Loon. Have you heard of, have you ever gotten your Light of a Loon, G-Bay?
I don't think so. I
Okay.
might have.
We're throwing a lot at you, and I'm sorry. I don't want to overwhelm you.
No, you're fine.
We've got years and years of like knowledge. There is a item that you can get in Ashenvale, Alliance only quest reward that just gives you 10 seconds of invulnerability. It's a potion, and it's the only item in the game that can give you invulnerability that long. And for hardcore players, you can pop a Light of a Loon and then Hearth. And so it is you have one single get out of jail free card as a hardcore player if you're Alliance. Horde don't get it, nor should they. But but you gotta make a macro. There's a great clip of what's her name? She was in that video with me. Whatever. She didn't make the macro, but she pulled a bunch of mobs in hardcore. She just hit 60, and she opened her bags and was like shaking because there were all these mobs coming at her. And she hit her Light of a Loon and then hit her Hearthstone, but didn't have the macro set up. So within the 1 second difference between her hitting Light of a Loon and Hearthstone, the mob hit her, interrupted the Hearthstone, and she died. And it was just like, oh, so good. I love that shit.
Breaks my heart.
Was it Emiru? Maybe it was Emiru. I can't remember. Okay, we're getting off topic. Where are you in your leveling journey right now? What level are we?
So I haven't made that much progress since my last episode because I had this whole idea to play through the original Warcraft Orcs of Humans and Warcraft 2 Tides of Darkness, which I thought was just going to be like a fun little diversion, but I ended up liking both of those games almost as much as Warcraft 3, which shocked me, and I had to make a whole video about that. That's going to come out shortly. But I just started leveling again. I think I'm up to 34, 35. I just did Nomergon for the first time, and
Nice.
had the nicest player.
Exciting.
I was questing with this dude who he said that he was going to run the dungeon and asked if I could join in. I'm like, yeah, I can tank if you want to, but I'm a new player, completely new. And he's like, oh, don't worry about it. And he was DMing me while we were going through the dungeon, trying to explain the story of it and the lore, saying like, oh, this is how I think that.
That's awesome.
If I remember correctly, this is why this is like this. And he was one of I've met so many nice players as I've been leveling and playing, but he was a super nice and helpful guy that just another great community interaction.
I
Nomer is
feel
I
like you
can't
can meet a
wait to
lot
ask
of
you.
nice people out in the world, like the open world. Especially when you're leveling, not when you're 60 though.
yeah. What was
Yeah,
that first
I mean, it's-
guy's name that you befriended in the cave?
Yeah, Zawadsky.
Yeah.
Zawadsky.
I'll always remember his name. He was the first guy that invited me to help me out with something, and it's really it really feels like, at least I don't know, I've been playing for however many months now. It doesn't feel like it ever gets old. The connections that you make when you just stumble across a random player and then become friends for a brief moment, even if you never see each other again. It's so. I don't know. It feels like such a special moment every time it happens that I don't know. I haven't gotten tired of it.
We stand Zawadsky here and Queasy.
Yeah, Queasy too.
It's really fun to see. Every time I've been watching your videos and you run into like another player, I'm like, please don't be the one bad guy who's gonna give him a bad time. And everybody's come through so far, so which is great. They're representing our community well, which is great. We'll see if you hit 60, what that'll look like. But I think the leveling community on Era is just like it's just a vibe. Everybody's just there for the love of it because they're not racing towards anything. And so yeah, it's been cool to see.
I'm so happy he has an experience because my first time when I did Dead Mines, and I remember this 20 years ago, this group, they were so mean to me. I didn't know any of the bosses. Like, hey, swim down this water. It's a shortcut. Like, oh, sick, cool. And they said, go first. Like, okay, and I did. And then I aggroed Mr. Smite. And Mr. Smite killed me. And they kicked me from the group. I was like, what did I do to deserve that? And I was like 12. And they kicked me, and I actually cried. I was so sad. I was like, what did I do? And you get all these nice people like Zawadsky helping you out. I get people who are mad that I'm probably typing as a 12-year-old in a Dead Mines. Like, I couldn't believe it. 20 years later, I still remember that.
Of the dungeons you've done so far, which one's your favorite?
Oh, that's tough. I mean, I've only done 3. I've only done Stockades, Dead Mines, and Nomergon.
So it's not Stockades. So that we got that.
Yeah, it's not Stockades. I need to at least run Nomergon once or twice more because it feels so much bigger and so much more confusing to make my way around. Or maybe it's just because it's the newest thing that I've just stumbled across. But I mean, Dead Mines felt so integrated into the world because it had this huge quest chain leading up to it that really made the payoff feel so special and sweet. So if I had to pick, I might have to pick Dead Mines for now.
I think Nomer. I mean, like a lot of the dungeons in Classic, they're kind of like 3 different sizes. There's like the really small like Stockades. There's like the medium dungeons like SFK or whatever, and then there's the gigantic dungeons like Nomer or Maradon or whatever, and
Scarlet Monastery.
Scarlet Monastery is, yeah, but BRD I think is everybody's favorite dungeon, which it's my favorite dungeon, like without a doubt.
Mine too, 100%.
And it has 30 quests maybe. When I was a child, or teenager, I remember if I would join a BRD group, I'd be like, okay, well, I guess that's all I'm doing today. We're doing BRD all day long. It was one run, and that's it. And I think games today don't really want you to have to sit there for a full day and play it, but there's something really incredible about committing to something and then slowly ticking away at it. And I think, I don't know, I can't wait for you to get there. It's so much fun.
Yeah, you're in for a treat. for sure.
A BRD quest run is always fun on a fresh server or your first time doing it.
And then when you're doing BRD2, like the way it's intended is you're not supposed to do all the quests at once, and you really can't because there's a lot of 2-parters and 3-parters. But like the way that we've optimized it now, you can do 20 quests in one go, but it's intended to do like 5-6 different runs and get all them done, and like, you know, target one area of the dungeon and then do another one. So yeah, I think Deadmine's a little bit simpler. Gnomer's one of those mega dungeons too that I think that they could totally expand the lore of Gnomer in Classic Plus and do a little quest lead up and stuff. I don't know. Like just based off of you playing, what do you know about Gnomer right now? Like lore wise?
Lore wise, I don't remember much. I was kind of in a rush to try to pick up like as many quests as I could to go through with that group because everyone was being so nice to me. I didn't want to like hold them up by running around and grabbing all the quests and reading all the text. Like I have the slow scrolling text on because I actually read through every quest, and everyone tells me, "Oh, you can turn that off," and I'm like, "Well, it goes about as fast as I can read anyway. I'm not going to not read the quests." So that was the one time where I was like, "Oh, actually, I'm going to rush it a little bit just to make sure I'm not wasting other people's time." But yeah, so if I remember correctly, like it used to be a city or something, and there were trogs or something that invaded, and there's all those leper gnomes, and all the mobs kept on thinking that we were trogs when we were going through. I mean, I want to go back and just look through my footage again to read the quest dialogue a bit more carefully because yeah, I don't know. I love the story and in WoW, and I'm always excited to learn more about it.
Favorite like race or creatures so far that you've like discovered or interacted with?
Oh, well, in WoW, like my favorite creatures in the Warcraft universe might just be the furbolgs from Warcraft 3, just because they were so adorable. But and I just felt so sad that they kept on having like all these terrible things happen to them.
So cute.
Yeah, they're adorable. I don't know in WoW. In WoW, I don't know. That's a good question, actually. There's a lot that I'm really excited because I keep on getting like the beginning of story threads. Like I keep on getting the beginning of like, oh, the Worgen and how did they get into Duskwood and the Scythe of Elune, and then I ran into the Syndicate in Hillsbrad, right? And then after just playing through Warcraft 2, I started learning about like the fall of Stromgarde and everything that happened there. But I feel like I'm still at like the start of every little storyline that I've come across. That yeah, it's hard to pick a favorite.
It's interesting, I think, because there's much more. It's much more complex to tell a story in an MMO than it is in an RTS, right? Because the RTS, you're going through all these main events and you can time skip and stuff. But in an MMO, you're in the world and you have to structure a story like a person going through their day, right? Kinda. And do you feel like WoW does a good job of telling its story, or do you think it could be improved upon?
Yeah, so personally speaking, I love MMOs when they tell stories because I think MMOs give a really unique or a really unusual experience that not many other games give, where when you tell a story in an MMO, you're kind of acting as an archaeologist because oftentimes the world is in a sort of persistent state and you can't have like huge events happening unless there's some sort of like big world event, which can be hit or miss. And if you're not playing the game at that time, you just don't get that part of the story, which can stink. But like the feeling of going around an area and then discovering quests that slowly reveal more about what was happening in that area and then recontextualizing like the people and the places and the cities. Like WoW does that really well. RuneScape also actually does that really well. And yeah, I don't know. So far I've been very impressed with how at least how the zones that I've been through have kind of explored and given these backstories that like Duskwood. It just every quest in Duskwood just blows my mind more and more.
Yeah.
And again, now after going back and playing through some of the older RTS titles, I'm even getting that experience a little bit with Hillsbrad and Alterec and yeah, I don't know. There's I love that kind of storytelling, so I'm always a sucker for it.
Are you the kind of person that 100%s each zone? Like, would you go for the insane title?
He probably doesn't know
Well,
what that is. We should explain.
Yeah, okay, well, the insane title is whenever you get 100% reputation with every faction, basically.
Okay, well, I still don't I don't know that much about faction yet. Like I've learned a little bit about like, oh, when I do these quests, I get Stormwind reputation or whatnot. But I still don't totally know how that system like works beyond the little bits and pieces I've seen. I've never really been like that much of a completionist when playing other games over the years. Like I haven't been the kind of person that wants to get every achievement. When I was a kid playing Xbox or something, I wouldn't necessarily do that. But there is something about WoW where I've started feeling like, okay, I don't want to miss any of the quests in these zones that I'm going through because they're so good, and I don't want to miss something that I then out level because I've learned that if you get too high of a level, then the little quest marker disappears and you can't see where to pick up quests anymore, and then they don't give you much experience anyway. So I've kind of started to get a little bit of a completionist mindset just because I don't want to miss anything.
Well, you're playing human, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, well, lucky for you, you get extra reputation percentage for all the quests that you complete, because Jordy over here loves playing dwarves, so he has to work a little bit harder to gain reputations with different
dwarves are
like,
BIS.
factions.
I mean, if you're saying dwarves aren't BIS, I'm gonna lose it.
They are BIS.
I'm really so in vanilla GBay, priests have specific spells that are based off of their race. It's the only class that has that mechanic. So there are different spells you get as a dwarf priest than you would as a human or a night elf. And the dwarf priest ones specifically are Fear Ward, which is a spell that it's a buff that it's a 3-minute like immunity to fear, and it gets consumed once you get feared once. And when you're in a raid, you don't want your tank getting feared because then the dragon will turn and breath everybody. So every single priest on Alliance is dwarf. It's just like one of those things. And I'm hoping in Classic Plus they fix it a little bit, but there is some really gorgeous joy in the waddling robed priest man.
With battle braids.
Yeah, I'm gonna be a dwarf priest in Classic Plus. I refuse to be anything
Dwarf paladin.
else. It's just gonna be me. I'm also half Scottish, and watch your back is part of my blood. So yeah. Okay, wait. Can we just reorient this a bit towards Classic Plus, because I think that it's important that we don't just wax nostalgic about how gorgeous the game is.
I wanted to touch up on what he brought with the questing. I wanted to skip stuff because, like, do you like because you quested an Elwyn. I was watching your Elwyn part, your first video, and then when you were going to Fargo Deep, I'm like, is he going to go to the Mackler Vineyards? Is he going to go to Stonefield where there's extra quests, or is he going to skip those by accident? Because when you first go to Fargo Deep, you're like, it's like Blizzard's intent that you see these farms, like, oh, that's cool. Maybe I should go explore those farms. And then when you explore the farms, they have more quests for the Fargo Deep mine when you do the chains. But you can obviously miss that. Like you mentioned, you missed a quest over in Northshire Abbey at first too, and you went back and still did it. Do you like that sort of like reward for exploration, but you have the opportunity to miss things, versus when you play retail, where it's campaigned and streamlined? Like it's impossible pretty much to miss a quest in retail because the exclamation point's on your map and there's a campaign you're going through. So are you a fan of that opportunity to miss stuff when you're playing like an MMO nowadays?
That's an interesting question. I think that, one of the things that when I was going through retail, one of the things I picked up on kind of quickly was that because there's a little marker that shows what's like part of the main quest line and what's just a side quest. And I kind of started just
Mhm.
skipping the side quests because it didn't feel significant leveling anyway, since everything scaled to my level. And I thankfully ended up doing the one quest for the Alexander character that ended up being a fantastic side quest story that tugged at my heartstrings and made me realize how much the questing had been kind of gamified. And now in classic, I kind of like the exploration, because I did miss some of those quests, and I had to go back into Fargo Deep to get the pendant or whatever off of Goldtooth. Like, as I was going through the first time with Zawadsky, I ended up seeing Goldtooth and realized, like, oh, this is probably an important mob that, we killed him and he didn't drop anything for me. So I kind of picked up on, like, okay, I probably missed something. And if anything, that does kind of just provide an opportunity for replay value on a second playthrough, where it can be a little fun trying to optimize and better plan a route. So yeah, I don't know. I think I'd prefer having a place that I have to explore myself and the opportunity to miss things, because because that just feels I don't know, more real, more tangible, and significant.
In the general audience is a fan of that too nowadays, because like, although I think a lot of us who are older like that, obviously a game like Classic Plus wants more people to play it besides the 30-plus-year-olds. Is that something that people are going to be interested in? Like, hey, I miss this, and like, I'm not going to be upset by it, because when I played Elden Ring, I hated missing stuff. I played it 6 times though, so I didn't miss anything. But I'm just wondering, is that a decision Blizzard should keep going with? Would the audience be a fan of when they do that, if they did that?
Yeah, so this gets a little abstract, but
Yeah.
it's my opinion that I think older games in general and older game design is oftentimes given a bad rap, and people call it, nostalgia, to go back and play older games as a sort of dirty word. But we don't really do that with any other kind of media. Nobody says it's nostalgia if you want to go back and read the original Lord of the Rings. Nobody says it's nostalgia if you want to go back and watch The Godfather. And in the same way, I think The Godfather is just a great movie. And even if you're born many years after it came out, there is still value, and plenty of movie buffs still go back and rewatch it and love it because it is a quality movie. Now, I don't know how much I want to say like specific mechanics or specific, potentially outdated, friction issues that Classic has are perfect in the way that The Godfather is. But I do think that Classic isn't necessarily something that younger audiences can't enjoy, or that they it's past their prime. I think it's just a good game, and the same way that you can go back and play any good old game, even if you're someone that was born many years after the heyday of WoW, I think that you can still enjoy it. And I think that old school RuneScape has kind of proven that that's true to some degree. I always remember hearing some stat that says like there are more people playing the old school version of the game now than there were back in 2007, and the iteration that the game was based on. So yeah, it's hard for me, especially as a new player to WoW, to comment on like the specific the specific mechanics and say like, yes, this is definitely something that makes WoW perfect, and this is something that can be changed. But in general, I am all for saying like, keep a lot of that friction, keep a lot of that what defines older games in that way, because a good game is a good game regardless of when it came out.
Well, yeah, because like even in like Elven Forest, like I've leveled a human like 1 to 30, it's peak. That and leveling up a blood elf 1 to 20, peak leveling experiences. But like there's a quest in Goldshire on Moore's Task that takes you to the Dwarven district, and then that takes you to Loch Modan. It's like, hey, there's a totally separate thing you can do. If you're like, you're at the Elven Forest, well, there's also the Dwarven area. Try going over here. You might want to, and you might have to. But then, like in Cataclysm, like the developer the shipment they changed to like, let's get rid of that. Just put a war board that just has quests for people that starts them off in a new zone. And like as the game kept going, it streamlines more and more towards like just get them to quest and like help them. We're not gonna you don't need to think. Just get the quest. And I think that with a Classic Plus like thing, like you're saying, like it's good to have like just the idea of exploration and just keep that stuff that slows you down instead of just giving away all the answers for you.
It's funny
Yeah,
that
I
you
mean,
say that. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
or I was just going to say that, like, I didn't even realize that's how things got changed in Cataclysm because that does sound
Yeah.
like, taking away a large part of the exploration, which in an MMO especially, like exploration and learning the lay of the land is a major part. So yeah,
Mhm.
like if that's the alternative, then I would definitely prefer not making that change.
And it's funny you talk about changes because actually during COVID, the initial classic reboot was hashtag no changes. And then the iteration of WoW that you're currently playing is anniversary, correct? So it's a little bit expedited.
No, he's
Well,
on
I am on
Yeah.
the Era servers.
Era.
Oh, Era.
But yeah, I remember hearing about that. I remember hearing people talk about, no changes, which I always thought was maybe a step too far. Like I understand, and especially with, with the way that people viewed Blizzard at the time, like how you might not necessarily trust changes that
Yeah.
could be added. Um, but like I mean, one thing that does make me very excited for the idea of Classic Plus is, the idea of having a game that is evolving, that doesn't feel like it's got an end or got a limit or got some sort of finish line that you eventually
Yeah.
cross, that there is always going to be the potential for and then that makes it feel worth it to invest time into a character, whereas otherwise it feels like, oh well, if there's this predetermined end, maybe then it's not worth it, so yeah.
That's definitely the issue with
Exactly.
the seasonal servers is like, it's 2 years and then it's over. And so people are a little bit less inclined to like spend the time to just vibe, and they race to the end because they want to see it all before it's over.
The expiration date.
Yeah. And then I
Yeah.
think even with expansions in the regular game these days, like, sorry, am I loud enough? I think, you only get so much time in the current thing before it becomes irrelevant. And so you race towards the end and you don't stop and smell the roses, so to speak, like, which I think is
FOMO.
probably the joy of an MMO, really, is feeling immersed. And, we'll still, maximize the game as much, min-max as much as we do, but hopefully they're able to figure out some sort of way to make it so that the game doesn't invalidate everything you've done up till now, because I think that can be a big issue with retail these days. And then, so just really quick, going back to your new playerness, and I think you mentioned this earlier. There's a weird like onboarding thing the game does that doesn't quite like tell you anything. It doesn't really teach you stuff super well. How do you think the game should evolve in terms of, getting new players and tutorials, and like, what is, we're an aging player base, as sad as it is to say. Is there a way to get those new players in that are like, hey, this isn't just a boomer game. This is, this is a fucking adventure.
Yeah, so I mean, this is something that I could go on for a very long time, so feel free to cut me off. But I feel like it's clear that Blizzard wants to have new players that come into WoW because they keep on in retail, they keep on trying to create tutorials and it's the game's now free for the first 20 levels, and they redid the tutorial of Exile's Reach recently, and they're clearly interested in drawing in new players, but they aren't like selling to prospective new players why they should play WoW.
Mm-hmm.
There isn't. They're explaining the game, but they aren't explaining why you should play it. And so personally, I feel like what got me interested in WoW was Warcraft 3. So I would even love it if Blizzard did like maybe one day a year they have Arthas Day and Warcraft 3 goes on sale for $1. And then all the gaming publications are writing about it and saying like, oh, you can play the greatest campaign in all of gaming, the greatest single player story in all gaming for $1 today, and generate interest that way. Maybe it's too much, that's leaving too much money on the table to give out Warcraft 3 for $1. So make like the human campaign a tutorial or something, or a demo, right? Like something to sell you on the story, because the world and the story is so compelling. And then once you're hooked on something like that, once you're hooked on wanting to see the end of the story, or once you're hooked on, some element of the game like that, then no amount of friction or difficulty is going to stop you from seeing the end. I mean, that's what so many video games just are in general, right? Like, I mean, I remember as a kid growing up, when I got hooked on a story of playing through a Halo campaign or something, it didn't matter how hard the game got. I would keep on playing it because I wanted to beat it, because I wanted to see the end. And that's the problem right now, in my opinion, is that there's no real hook for new players getting into the Warcraft universe, which is so vibrant and rich that once you are hooked on it, you want to go through and experience everything. And so, I don't know, I feel like it's a marketing issue more than anything. It's a matter of, one thing they did really well recently was that that animation for Midnight, that was like a mini anime or something I saw posted to YouTube. That felt like, okay, now this is an interesting story that hooks my attention way more so than telling me that now I can learn how things work easier through Exile's Reach or whatever. Like, hooking players on the content of the world is something I just wish, I wish Blizzard would take more of a stab at.
To your point, I think Riot knows this really, really well. With Arcane, it is it's one of those things where they like are very good at the ancillary media, that it's not the main game, and these things drive traffic towards the main game. And the beauty of it is you're like watching something that's actually good on its own, but you're also being introduced to all these characters that you're way more likely to engage with the game itself. And I feel like Blizzard has failed miserably at the secondary media. And we've said for years and years and years, why don't you guys do more, do more, do more? And they did the Warcraft movie, which I think is better than most people give it credit for. But
I love that.
Have you seen it, Jibe?
I love that movie.
No, but I want to now that
cool.
that is
just
that is a video. That is a video by itself. I promise you, it is. It is a trip and a half.
Maybe it's a hot take, but yeah, I liked it.
Yeah, it's wild. There was one thing I think that there was a leaked slate that I don't know if you saw that, Jibe, but it has a bunch of timetables that are going to be essentially, possibly, who knows, released down the line. And one of them is an Arthas live action show. Another one is a Warcraft anime, which I think that video that you're referring to is kind of the proof of concept for, if I had to guess.
It goes so hard.
It would go so hard. So hopefully we're able to see some more stuff soon. I've been working on writing a Defias origin story script. I got Jibe to read it. He liked it. And we'll see if they're able to come up with some sort of something so that we just can hook people, because Warcraft 3 was that thing that you're referring to that hooked people early on, right? And when we were kids, Warcraft 3 was the launch pad to World of Warcraft. And Riot has a lot of that too, but kids these days, or teenagers, whatever, there's no entry point. So I agree though, 100%. Do you what story would you want to see animated? What are your most, what characters do you like? What would you want to see on screen?
Oh, I love all of it. There's no wrong choice, I feel like. I mean, just playing through Warcraft 2, one thing that I learned recently that I thought was interesting, that I actually searched up to see if there was any sort of additional story that apparently hasn't really been fleshed out, is how Stromgarde and the nation of Alterac, if I'm getting my names right, betrayed the humans in the Second War, signing a non-aggression pact with the Horde, allowing them passage through the Arathi Highlands, and Lord Paranold was this betrayer. Like, I don't know, that sounds like a fascinating story. I mean, everything with all the great characters of Arthas and Illidan, and I mean, everywhere I look in the Warcraft universe, there are so many fantastic characters. Like, I'm reading through the Lord of the Clans book right now, and hearing about Thrall's father, Duratan, right? And
Yes.
Orgrim Doomhammer. Like, I don't know. There's so much substance, and one of the things that the Warcraft universe does surprisingly well compared to other fantasy universes that I'm aware of is that every character is fascinating and fun to read about or learn about, even if they're a straight villain, even if they're, irredeemable, or I don't know, someone that you hate. They're still so fascinating and fun to engage with their stories, and oftentimes have these really original backstories and pieces of lore. So I really don't think there's a wrong answer. Blizzard could take any one of the corners of Azeroth and create a compelling narrative out of it. And yeah, I would love to see them do more of it.
I mean, I know watching your series, you are a huge Illidan stan. Who can blame you? The man's gorgeous. But, I think one thing that I think Arcane did a good job of this is starting small and starting more realistic to the real world, because when things get big and crazy and dragons and stuff like that super fast, it can be kind of a turnoff to people that aren't based in that aren't super familiar with the genre. So that's what I would do if I were them, is start with a human story, try not to do the big crazy stuff early. Illidan is a wild character. What about him are you into? Because he is just so emo.
Well, yeah, I mean, he just reminds me so much of how I was as a teenage boy, right? Like that's so much of every Midwest teenage boy can see himself in Illidan, I'm sure. But one thing I think is really impressive about
He's just
one thing I
misunderstood.
think is really impressive about the Warcraft franchise, and I guess is maybe a credit to Chris Metzen, is that so much of the character design is fantastic, and again feels very original. Like, I'm not the biggest fantasy guy. I never really got super into Dungeons and Dragons, although I am a Lord of the Rings fan, as everybody is, and I've read certain classics. But all that to say, like, I might not be the biggest authority on this, but I feel like so much of the character design with certain figureheads in the Warcraft universe feels so original. Like, looking at Illidan, I can so instantly know so much about his personality and his motivations, and he just having huge devil horns and a blindfold instantly suggests this interesting backstory that you want to learn more about, that can be hinted at in little text, going back to Warcraft 3. And I don't know, there's something about the character design of him and so many other figureheads in Azeroth that is just on first glance you can tell it's a fascinating character that you want to learn more about.
Have you seen the TBC cinematic?
I think so, although not recently. I'm sure I have over the years.
You are not
on
prepared.
the internet. Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I have.
Okay. It's part of the intro for the thing. We can play it super quick, just because it's dope as shit. But he doesn't really get his moment. This is terrible. It's just so incredible.
You are not prepared.
Shivers, dude. Shivers. Like, it's just one of those things where, like, they have so much opportunity to build off of that. And for Classic Plus, I mean, if he doesn't go to Outland, then what's going on with Illidan? You know what I mean? There's a lot of opportunity. You have a little thing on Garithos in your Warcraft 3 series. There's a guy in my Discord, the Classic Plus Project Discord, who RPs as Garithos, and he just posts pictures of Garithos lines in chat as like responses to stuff. And that stuff just gets me so excited. I just love it so much. And he's a total dick, but I can't tell if it's like he's actually a dick or if he's just Garithos. So, okay. What's next? What do we want to go to?
Leak of the week.
Should we go to the leak? Can we bring you in on a leak? G-Bay, is there any chance you're gonna not feel spoiled by something?
No, go ahead.
Okay, because it'll be fascinating to see your thoughts on this. Okay, so I'm gonna post the leak, and when I say leak, it could be absolutely nothing. If you are an audio listener, we're gonna post the leak in the description, and we're gonna take everything that we're gonna be reading with a grain of salt. Let me pull this up. Hold on, where is it?
So this is all speculation.
Yes.
I like to call it creative writing, because I'm not convinced any of it is real, but people like to talk about it, and there's a lot of content being made on the leaks right now, and I personally find it signal boosting people's creative writing skills when it's full of shit isn't my favorite thing, but they're fun to talk about sometimes, and maybe we're going to see one that actually has some legs.
Hi-ho, hi-ho.
Leak of the week.
Run away!
Okay, leak of the week. Thank you, Farts, for making that. I was involved with testing Project Camelot, obviously not the real internal name. I mean, that would be the internal name, but whatever. And I'm just dumping everything I can. Remember before I forget, looking forward to BlizzCon this year. Zones. The Southern Expanse is a new island off the coast of Tanaris that somehow resurfaces. Horde and Alliance both end up racing each other to explore it. It was split into 3 zones. The northern area is called the Savannah Plateau. It's a huge savanna with mesas, giant trees, and abandoned stone watchtowers scattered all over the place. Most mobs are giant-sized and overgrown looking. Think Jumanji. One of the main enemy factions is a tribe of giant Quillbor that built these massive thorn fortresses into the cliffs. Basically, Razorfen Downs on steroids. You haven't done Razorfen Downs yet. That is a very cool dungeon.
It is.
It's weird though, and the lore on it's wild. From what I remember, they worship whatever force changed the island and see everyone else as a trespasser. The Rotting Woods felt like Duskwood had a baby with Silverpine. Arugal comes back as a lich. Questline explains his rebirth. He's raising undead versions of just about everything on the island, including Worgen, Gnolls, and even the giant Quillbor. Most of the quests there revolve around pushing deeper into his territory while he keeps experimenting with stronger undead. And then finally, Blackwater Jungle is the southern part of the island. Lots of rivers, ruins, and ridiculously dense jungle. This one felt like Ungora without the dinosaurs because the vines that attack you, trees move around, giant carnivorous plants everywhere. The Blackwater Murlocs are one of the bigger factions, and they're way more advanced than normal Murlocs. Don't worry, they still murgle. They have temples and settlements hidden throughout the swamps. They're mostly trying to stop everyone from uncovering whatever is buried beneath the island. Okay, let's stop there. Does this sound like something they would do? What do you think, Ren?
I'm processing it, honestly. It sounds like it definitely needs more work. Obviously, it's like, still in the alpha or whatever. Yeah, it's kind of sounding like, what's that? BFA.
Yes.
Didn't play it.
Like
I
the
was talking
zones,
about-
literally, the way they're describing the zones literally remind me of BFA, and I don't know how I feel about that.
Uh,
Honestly,
with the Drustvar, right?
yeah. So it's like also 3 zones. There's like one dead arid zone. There's one like forest Amazonian jungle zone. And honestly, I
Jibe,
forgot
you
what the
played
last one
a
was.
little BFA, right?
Yeah, I did. I mean, that was what I accidentally ended up playing when I, when I
Yeah.
did retail.
So yeah, the
That's
way
so funny.
that this is written, low key describes or reminds me of that. I don't know how they would intertwine this with Classic, but I'd be interested to see. Obviously, that's why we're all here. We want to know what's
Yeah.
going on in Classic Plus. But
I
yeah,
feel like
that's my first impression.
my brain's just so fried from all the leaks I've read, but I like the idea of the Blackwater jungle. I like jungle stuff. I like swimming through rivers, and like there's terrains that stop you. And I was a big fan of Ungoro Crater whenever I quest there. I hate Murlocs, so I every time I get to a level, I'm like, I'm done with Murlocs. I'm not low level anymore. And there's a new place in Murlocs, like, motherfucker, god damn it. I'm so tired of these Murlocs, dude.
Wait, Jibe, have you done underwater quests or anything like that yet?
I mean, there was one underwater quest in Red Ridge to find the
Yeah,
to
that
find the
one barely
Box
counts.
or whatever.
Yeah.
and then killing Murlocs around Red Ridge. I think that's about it.
Oh,
though.
that harbor I was talking about earlier in Arathi, that's one of those underwater quests. I almost died there on hardcore one time. Underwater quests suck in this game, notoriously.
Yes.
We all hate them. The Z-axis
You
is
do
really
understand.
buggy in Classic, at least. There's like a bug where if you move up or down too quickly, the game thinks you're fly hacking and will automatically disconnect you. And for some reason, it hasn't been fixed. And so there are many, many clips of people swimming up to catch their breath and then disconnecting and dying in hardcore, which is tragic. But yeah, you'll get there. It's fun. It's not fun.
What are your thoughts on this, Jordy?
On this, I don't know, Jibe, what do you think? Does this sound real to you? Would you think
I don't know.
Blizzard would do this for Classic Plus?
Well, I don't know Blizzard well enough to make a judgment call on that.
I disagree.
It
I
is
disagree.
immediately
You've played Warcraft 3 and you've played a little bit of retail and you played a little bit of Classic. I think that's enough to you have a good sense of it now, I think.
Yeah, but I don't know if I would say I have a good sense of Blizzard as a company, especially like post Microsoft takeover. Because like what makes sense for the world and what's going to make sense for Microsoft's like KPIs are two different things. And I'm not sure if to some degree, it's a business and they want to turn a profit and make money and do whatever they think will succeed in a business world. Now, I don't know. I feel like this is immediately suspicious that he says that he's testing Project Camelot and it's not the real internal name when that is the internal name, right? I mean, that immediately sets off alarm bells to me. But I don't know. Just like there is something about it that seems a little bit suspicious. Like I don't know. It kind of just sounds like an expansion to me. I don't know. Like I don't know that much about expansions and how they roll out, but this sounds like just an expansion, which that's I don't know. That feels
not
like
what
it's
Classic
a little.
Plus should be.
Yeah. To me, Classic Plus would be like, what's that one place in Tenaris that's like it looks like a
Oldham.
Yes. They would flesh that out and they would do something with that, or they would probably do something with Caverns of Time. Just like things that are pre-existing in the world that should have been finished in Classic that they could go back and redo.
Right.
That's like how I would interpret
I think
Classic Plus.
That's my biggest issue with it, is that it's just a bunch of new shit that has not been ever talked about or seen.
Yes.
And especially if you're going to be launching a game, right? You
Mhm.
wouldn't do something like this first. You would do the thing that gets people hyped, and that would be something that the community's been wanting for a long time, in
Yeah.
my opinion.
Like, how do you
right?
segue into that?
Yeah, it'd be really hard. And this is just, it just seems so out of left field to me. So yeah, I think this is a crock of shit personally. It just doesn't make any sense. It makes no sense.
Like,
I think there is room for new stuff in Classic Plus, I think.
Mhm.
Like, but I think that
imagine if you went back and did Nomergon and there were like different modes or etc. Things like that, I feel like would be much cooler than building out building out brand new zones would be cool if it was like in the pre-existing Azeroth, but just like making stuff up and then slapping it on a platter and feeding it to you doesn't sound that appetizing.
yeah,
I don't know.
100%.
That
Yeah.
could just be me.
I think plus if they were testing stuff, they would test like 1 through 30 stuff first and stuff. I'd say, hey, there's like a new area over here, not just like, yeah, here's a bunch of new shit that just exists now that never has been talked about in any sort of lore. So I think a big thing people want is to finish stuff that's not finished, not just we just added a new island, go have fun and do island shit over there. Probably shouldn't say that nowadays.
Apparently the internet's getting extra bad.
Like, Chibe, how would you feel if you went back to Stockades and there were like new wings or new bosses or like, I don't know, something that you come back to at a later level and then it gets harder? Like, does that seem enticing to you or?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that in general, new content that I want to see in Classic Plus would be content that integrates itself into the already existing world and fleshes out either quest lines or storylines that were previously left unfinished. Or I've heard just secondhand, obviously I haven't seen it much myself in game, but I've heard secondhand that the original vanilla version of the game, like all of Kalimdor didn't get as much time to be developed as the Eastern Kingdoms did. So, fleshing out more content, more quests in the already existing areas. And if they really wanted to add new, I don't know, a new island, a new landmass, I would kind of expect that it would be like a reimagined Kultiris or a reimagined Northrend or like a place that was already existing in Warcraft 2, Warcraft 3, rather than just inventing a new island so you can go and do some sort of, mini game or something like that. That seems that to me, that kind of just sounds like a regular expansion that retail would get. Whereas like a denser Azeroth compared to what exists in vanilla era, just with more in that sounds way more in line with what people would want in classic rather than glomming on
100%.
new random mini games.
Yeah, I feel like there's so much potential.
Do you have anything you want to see the most?
Oh, that's a good question. It's hard to say because I don't know what I'm gonna see later on. I'm trying to like not spoil myself, so I don't know what I, might get to see later. But I guess in general, oh yeah, I mean, just more. I don't know, more of everything. I would love more, more of like one thing I saw that I think I got spoiled for was in one of my recent episodes, I did a quest in Duskwood that hinted that there was like some sort of rebellion or subversives that had to do with why the land was so cursed or something. That doesn't actually lead to anything. Jordy, you mentioned to me that you don't actually get to find the King of Stormwind in the big quest line that I thought like, oh, great, this isn't just gonna edge me again. This is actually gonna have some sort of ending. And that sounds like a quest line I would love to see completed. Yeah, I don't know. There's so many. I feel like there are so many interesting corners of the map that already exist. You can just
get a good writer, and then they're going to have
Yep.
so much opportunity to expand.
That might be asking a bit much, but sure. Yeah.
Uh,
I agree. I think, you know, we've talked about it in some of my videos, like things I'm hoping for and all that, but like, I just want them to fill in the corners and make sure everything's kind of figured out, and then building out from there. And I'm okay with experimentation, but as long as it's not at the you know, detriment of the other stuff that
Expense.
already exists.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm a little bit worried that that's going to be something that happens. And just to go back to the no changes thing, I think that the reason no changes was such a thing is because we don't trust them, and we know what the game that we wanted is, and we would rather have a slightly fucked version of the game that we want than the risk of them absolutely destroying it in the present. And so
sad but true.
there was a lot of people that were saying no changes, and it wasn't because the game doesn't need changes. It was just because we can't trust you to do the changes. And so,
Oof.
and I honestly think that was pretty base at the time. It's okay now. You know, everybody's okay with changes now, and they've earned a little bit of ability, but I don't think that at the time it was a wrong choice, personally.
No, I agree. I think at the time was correct too.
Yeah.
It
Okay.
was cool.
Should we continue with this leak, or are we just saying it's bullshit? I mean, we might as well get into some of it.
I'm sick of it.
You're sick of it? You don't want to?
I mean, I'm actually like flabbergasted at how ridiculous it is.
Let's just do
It's
the
so
headlines of it.
ridiculous.
No Mythic Plus. There's heroics. Cares on Crypts is a SOD version reused. Cares on Crypts you're not going to get to play, G-Bay, but I do recommend checking it out. It is, I think, the best clue towards modern Blizzard's ability in the classic space. And it really is a great dungeon. It was a great dungeon. It had its issues for sure. They did this cool thing with like light. Karazhan's like this giant mage tower, and the crypts underneath are, you know, full of whatever, and it's pitch black underneath. It's at the beginning of the dungeon, they give you a torch, and it follows one person around, and the draw distance of any enemies is only within the light of that torch, or any light that's naturally in the dungeon. So if something is out of the draw distance, or something's out of the light, it disappears and you can't target it, which is really cool. The torch mechanic wasn't everybody's favorite, but it was pretty cool, I think. All right, meeting stones will work as actual summoning stones. I'm very against meeting stones personally. I don't know. Would you
Really?
Would you want meeting stones, Jubei?
I still don't totally know how they work, but I feel like, I don't know. It doesn't seem game breaking to me, but I haven't experienced them enough to form an opinion.
I feel bad for warlocks. I'll say it. I
Yeah, but
think
the warlock
they would
bots.
help.
Why would you feel bad for warlocks? They're warlocks.
Because they have no bag space.
Meeting stones are, you know, those stones that you were hanging out in front of outside of Dead Mines. In
Yes.
future games after vanilla, if you right clicked it while targeting another party member, it created a warlock portal to summon them. And so you only need 2 players to summon everybody else, as long as they're in front of the dungeon.
Yeah, I've played a little bit of Anniversary where that's on, right?
Okay. Is it on Anniversary?
and-
Oh, TBC, I guess. Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
And I mean, it doesn't seem, it doesn't seem game breaking to me, especially if you're, I don't know, if you're already making a couple people run to the dungeon anyway. That feels like you're already getting, like, it's not I don't know, it's not a dungeon finder that's just automatically teleporting everybody. There's still some element of legwork that has to be put in, right?
True, but I do think it devalues warlocks and their unique ability. So like when you have a warlock in a group, you're like, oh, cool, I don't have to run. And that feels good. Versus who gives a shit if you have a warlock in the group. if there's a summoning stone, right, or a meeting stone, and then I think that there's a lot of fun in feeling like you're in the world all the time, and feeling like part of, I don't know, and when you can just teleport around, it just loses a little bit of that expansiveness over time.
There better not be flying in
It's my.
less.
I mean, I don't think anybody thinks there's gonna be flying. That's like the one thing. But that's my soapbox. Yeah. Scarlet Enclave got turned into another Scarlet Monastery wing, although it's much smaller than the Sod Raid. 0 chance. Grim Batol's a level 60 dungeon split into upper and lower sections like Blackrock Spire. That could possibly be a thing, but
Grim Batol be badass.
Grim Batol would be badass. Meeting stones finally work. Raid attunements are still in the game, but they're basically a one-shot questline now, and once you finish them, they are account-wide. I didn't see any 10-man raids at all. There are 2 new 20-man raids at launch with no flex raid sizes. AK-40 and Axe can also be run as a 20-man versions with normal and heroic difficulties. I think heroic unlocks the reputation, blah, blah, blah. What do you guys think about heroic dungeons? I'm pretty neutral about it.
I'm indifferent.
It's hard because I like if you keep adding them and then you add catch-up gear with a new heroic dungeon, I think it's like I hate to say slippery slope. I think it gets that way where it's like you really want to take your time before older content becomes irrelevant. Like, I don't want to spoil anything, how there's a certain ring and a certain dungeon that's pre-built for warriors. It's a really great ring, and you don't want to like just invalidate that by adding something in real quick that replaces that. Like Sod did that with the Scarlet Enclave quest chain. It added a new version of a really strong trinket. I'm just trying not to spoil anything here. And it just replaced it. So you didn't have to get that trinket anymore because this new thing just completely replaced a better version of it. And I as cool as it is for a seasonal server, I think if you add heroic dungeons, kind of like how Karazhan and Cribs had like really good catch-up gear and Sod, you make older stuff very like irrelevant quick. So it has to be rare when you do that, or the content has to be controversial. The content has to be really hard for you to get that gear.
Base.
How do you feel about doing dailies or like homework quests?
Oh, I mean, I'm not a fan of dailies at all. Like, I don't know that I play any game that has like daily quests. I guess you could say like a farming run in RuneScape is a daily quest sort of, but that's more so just getting resources and you know, and I guess like farming experience if you want to max out the skill. Like it's not like, I don't know, significant account progression that you're getting from logging in every day.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't like it. It shouldn't feel like it should never feel like a chore to play a video game. Like the games are supposed to be something that you're excited to log on and do. That's the thing that blows my mind about Rested XP is that it's like you're encouraged to not play it. You're encouraged to take a break and to step away. And it's a reverse daily quest. Like, yeah, I don't feel like I should be tricked into logging on and playing.
Yes.
We have some breaking news. Breaking news, guys. There is a Classic Plus leak, Camelot leak or data mine of some kind.
Is it legit?
Another Camelot leak. Looks like a Lordaeron tabard for Horde and Alliance. I only have 2 textures. Alliance version reminds me of that Skyborn Decor banner leak in 12.0.5. Interesting. So, if we're going to draw a line between this hilarious picture, and can you guys see this? I'm sorry, I might not be.
No, it's
Okay.
super
Is
benign.
this from Steven?
It's from Steven. Yeah, I'm posting it in
yeah.
guest info.
Love it.
So there was a thing a while back. How about sure? There was a thing a while back where Steven is the Wowhead data miner, and he posted something about something called the Skyborn, which everybody wasn't sure if they were retail or classic plus stuff, because it could be anything, but we don't know what it is. But this seems to have a similar design as that last thing, which was a Skyborn decor banner in 12.0.5. I'm not explaining this super great, but yeah, it's something. There's something going on here. We don't know what necessarily, but I think he's gonna need
So what is the
cut for
Skyborn?
his midriff. What is the Skyborn? Who knows, dude? I don't know.
What is the Skyborn?
It's a word that we are seeing. What was his? Didn't we have a? There's a Platinum WoW video about some of this too that we can put in the description. So yeah. I'm a little bit sussed out by this. This feels like something. 12.0.5 decor banner. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Hmm.
There was some stuff that was data mined earlier for Skyboard a few months ago too.
That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah. That sounds cool. I love Elven shit, so.
WoW Classic Titan patch 3.8. Yeah, that's Titan Reforged. Have you heard about the Titan servers, GA?
I don't think so.
The Chinese ones?
No.
They are wild. It's Wild West over there. It's a
Done.
vanilla TBC Wrath combo server where everything is scaled to 80. All the raids are set to 80. So you're playing all three versions of the game at the same time. You know, you'll go from a Molten Core to, what was the second raid? I think it was like SSC and TK, which was a TBC raid, into like a Wrath of the Lich King raid as the next tier. And it's just kind of all jumbled up, which is cool because they didn't get Sod and we did. So I guess they get something. Have you heard about that NetEase drama too? In China? We got so much lore to give you. I have to bestow all this lore upon you. There was
Got fresh baby eyes.
Yeah, there was a contract dispute with NetEase and Blizzard a while back, and we don't know too many of the specifics, but NetEase no longer hosted Blizzard products for a while in China, which was their main distributor there, and so there was no Warcraft in China for like 18 months or 2 years a while back. And then they finally figured out their contract dispute. And Blizzard's been trying to catch them back up to the present ever since. So they've been a little bit behind and slowly catching up for a while. And I think they're just now getting caught up, at least in the classic side. But they did get this server as an apology. So yeah. They have something like 10 times players we do. Like that's how big a deal it is that China is as into it as they are. Okay, sorry for the thing. We can move on from leaks. I don't think these leaks. This is a very good leak personally. The only leak that I believed so far is that one slate.
Yes,
I posted to Twitter a while back. But yeah, this seems just a little bit too silly. If you were going to have a new race, what would you guys want as your single most important new race?
Like brand new?
High elves. High elves.
I do like the high elves. I like pretty races, but dwarves are pretty too because I love dwarves.
That's not a new whatever. Okay.
So I'm saying I love dwarves. I'm called a pretty too because I said earlier love dwarves. I know it's not a new race.
What if you had to play a Murloc? Like,
I want to murder.
Yeah, I was about to say furballs, or I would. I'd like to see something new.
You want a brand new one, or you want like what would you? Because this was this question on the survey. The survey like we put out 6 months ago was, would you want a race that's established in the lore? Would you want a brand new one?
Oh well, I would want something that has ties to the lore, that feels like it fits in with the universe and has a lot of like connection to the Warcraft IP already. But I wouldn't necessarily. Maybe it's also just my perspective. Like if I certainly wouldn't be upset if they added races that get added later in TVC or Wrath or whatever. But just from my perspective, not having played those expansions, I could also go play those expansions myself if I if I wanted to experience those new races.
Uh,
So
for me, it's ogre. Like that's my big hope. I don't really need Worgen. I don't need high elf. I just want ogre. That's all I really want.
what about Naga? What if you play one of those?
So Naga would be weird because are there any good Naga? Good is a word, but like uh, they're just associated with any lore masters in the chat. They're all just former night elves that have been turned into Naga by their association with
Or were
the
they high
Shah,
elves?
right? High elves, sorry, yeah. Yeah, Jibe, teach us, brother. You're the one that's been playing the stuff recently. Are there any good ones? Like, I mean, they could come up with whatever fucking retcon lore reason they want, but like, Naga would be weird.
How would they mount? They have no feet.
Yeah, that's another thing. Is they're very
They just slide really fast.
like
Yeah.
there's no way they're ever going to release a race that is not able to mount. How do you think they make money?
I'm just upset that I still can't play as an Amani troll. I wanted to play as an Amani troll since TBC, and I saw Midnight, and I was so excited, and I still can't play as an Amani troll. I wanted to play as an Amani troll so bad that in TBC, I looked up a mod, like, how can I make my troll look like an Amani troll? I tried messing with the files, and I logged in, and if y'all love polygons, it looked like polygons, all right. It was like boxes and like what did I do? I had to uninstall WoW. This is back when you had all the CDs and stuff for a while, so I could completely get rid of it and reinstall it. My brother was so pissed because we played on the same account. I just wanted to play an Amani troll so bad. All right, I know I went on a tangent there, sorry, but let's go ahead and move on to this next segment. It's Jordy's favorite. The intro that Farts made is so funny, and this is called Loot and Order.
In the Azrothian justice system, creating drama is considered especially heinous. The dedicated hosts who investigate these vicious felonies are members of an elite squad known as the Loot and Order Unit. These are their stories.
We're gonna get some interesting stories over the years, because the WoW community isn't always known for its candor, its grace.
Cleanliness.
Yes. But this first one, it's a little bit, what's the word? A little bit more wholesome, even though it's kind of negative towards me. So we're gonna tell this story about a guy that I don't know if you guys remember Fusion. It was my guild in vanilla, but this man,
I'm just doing a little.
his name is Subtlety. He was a rogue in my guild, Subtlety, and I want to make it clear he was a nice guy. He had no ill will in my guild pretty much ever. But this was the week that we were doing Scarab Lord. And GB, I don't know if you know about Scarab Lord. Have you heard of that term?
I have. I've been close with Barney from her
Okay,
Guild
great.
days, so
Cool.
I've seen her series.
Okay, great. So
Barney.
So Scarab Lord is, for as many of you know, a very complicated quest line, and it requires a massive amount of war effort materials in order to proceed the server to the next event, which is the gate opening. Now, my server, me included, we intended to open the gates right away. However, this guy, Subtlety, didn't realize that that was the plan, and he intended to get Scarab Lord, but didn't realize it. So the day that the patch hit, he decided that he was going to roll up to BWL. He realized that what was about to happen was he was about to get saved to an instance where he couldn't get the Broodlord Lashslayer head, which you have to get that first week, or you can't finish the quest in a week, which is what we were gonna do. And he's like, hey, I'm gonna go for Scarab Lord, guys. He just like decided like the morning of it was incredible. And then he proceeded for the entire week to scrap, beg, and buy a lot of gold, allegedly, to afford everything he needed to get Scarab Lord. Now, my guild fusion, we had already picked 3 Scarab Lords. I was the first because I did all of the war effort organizing, and we had 2 others. Now, this poor guy was mad at us for not picking him. He wasn't really a huge member of the community, so whatever. But then he recorded his entire journey, and I can't recommend this chat enough. It is a harrowing experience. He was in North Carolina during a hurricane, and he had his power go out. There are power lines that go down.
It's Monday. I'm going for Scarab Lord, and the power went out. The lights are flickering. The power's going on and off, and a hurricane might be the reason we don't become, or I say I don't become a Scarab Lord.
He's just trying to get Scarab Lord.
Monday.
And it is
It's Monday.
It was incredible. So then at the end of the adventure, he's angry at us for not helping him more. And he somehow managed to pull it off. It was incredible. He got the green crystal shards, the drop in like 2 seconds, where it took me like forever. And he managed to finish with like an hour to spare. He recorded this video of him ringing the gong. This is tight.
What did he actually find out?
And he was so mad at our guild, he G-quit right before he rang the gong. And then everybody in this crowd is screaming, fuck fusion and blah, blah, blah. And this was like pretty mellow in the end, compared to some of the drama during this event, which I really hope Classic Plus is able to find some way to do events this large, because they're so good for narrative storytelling, and there aren't really events like this in other games that I know of. Do you guys know of any other events like the gate opening and the Scarab Lord questline?
That was a huge war effort, literally appropriately named. I'm trying to think of any other games that could have possibly implemented that.
Do you think that there's room in Classic Plus for a game that has a one-time event that you can then no longer go do? Is there a place for something like that in Classic Plus?
Like in Classic Plus?
Yes.
I think so. And I think that's the allure of doing it, right? Because like you don't want FOMO, so you're going to participate in it, and it's like it makes it even more attractive to like take part in.
I don't know, Jimmy, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I would say definitely. I think that one of the best parts of MMOs in general is high ground is that people don't ever or have no chance of getting anymore. Like, I mean, that's something that is, I don't know, to me at least, MMOs are all about like being able to signal what you've accomplished in a virtual world with your gear mostly. And I know that WoW is kind of like always had that, right? Like I remember reading years ago, like reading articles about how like there's an ivory raptor or something that you had to farm up a certain amount of gold within the first few months or whatever of WoW's release, and that was the only way you could get it, and you could never get it again. And yeah, being able to signal through your status that you were around for a certain time or had a certain had a certain grind that you accomplished. I feel like that as long as you're still adding more stuff, so new players can join in on the next one, then yeah, by all means.
Hot take, I hate transmogs.
That's not a hot take, at least in the classic community.
I want to be able to flex my tier 3 armor, or like, I don't know, Atiesh or something like that.
Yeah.
It's nice to know what everyone's current power level is because you can see what they're wearing.
Exactly. Or if you're PvPing someone and you see like a freaking helmet change, then it helps you.
How do you feel about the way that leveling gear looks, Jubei?
Yeah, I mean, I've never understood the idea of transmog. Like, I don't understand the like, I've had people try to explain the appeal of it, but to me, so much of like you get to show your I don't know, your journey through your gear that you're wearing when you're playing an MMO, and that's so much of it. Like, now that I still haven't got my Whirlwind Axe yet, but now every time I see a Whirlwind Axe, like, I know so much about, like, what that person has done and what they've accomplished. And yeah, I mean, also, like, again, having spent a lot of time in RuneScape where, you're switching gear mid battle, and like, that's a visual indicator. That's like part of the skill is doing a switch and being able to quickly, do your prayers and stuff. Like, that's when the game gets into high level stuff. But like, being able to see what a person is I don't know, what they have, their status is, that's the entire appeal of an MMO. Like, if you just want to dress yourself up, I don't want to be disparaging, but if you just want to dress yourself up and look nice, then you can go play The Sims or something. Like, there are plenty of games where you get to do something like that. I don't understand the appeal of that in MMOs.
I think when the content gets so far away from when it first released and stuff is like getting one shot, transmog is it just like there's no challenge in you getting the ability to look a certain way, right? And I think that can be frustrating because it just becomes dress up. I do think that there is a lot of value in transmog in terms of addressing a certain like player, right? Like, there are a lot of people who like that feature and want that and don't want to have to feel forced into playing the game with whatever gross piece of gear they have, and they want to look at their character in a certain way. And I think that there is probably a solution for that, but
Deviate delights.
well, then everybody just looks the same. But I think that the RPG part of the MMORPG, that transmog completely undermines that. And I mean, nothing is better than a leveling set of gear where you just have some mismatched crap, but then you open your eyes and you're level 44, and all of a sudden you've got such a cool, unique set of gear that no one's ever worn because you have a different journey than anybody else, right? And like, that is such a joyful experience personally.
Just like Scarab Lord.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, we got really far away from the topic.
Well,
No, I mean, it ties in.
Like, I was talking to Hammerdance about this actually. Like, there's still a check mark when you get to like a benchmark of what you look like as a level 44 warrior. Like, I know what my level, like, got the shoulder on. I don't want to say where it's from though. Got the helmet from that one place. And I got my boots. Like, I know I think everybody who's played a warrior and has leveled up from 1 to 60 has that idea of what that, like, what someone is. I see that gear. It's like, that's a level 46 warrior right now. I can tell because I know what they're wearing. And when you're doing your gear progression, like, what you look like as a tiny little person at level 1, and you get your first pair of shoulders at level 15. Like, that's my favorite thing in the world, getting your first pair of shoulder armor.
Yeah.
And then when your cape goes from small to big at like level 21, it's like, yes, I got the real cape now. Awesome. And then your gear just gets cooler and cooler and cooler. And then you get to level 60, and then you wear the same gear that the weird ugly clown suit that you wear as a warrior, but like you know what it looks like because like it's just iconic. You know where someone's power level at. You know where someone's level is at.
I just posted my hardcore shadow priest that I leveled in TBC in the episode 1 discussion, and that set is completely random. That I just rolled into that at a certain level, and I was like, "Holy shit, this is the coolest! I've never looked cooler as a character."
Yeah.
Like,
yes,
that was so cool.
And I think if there was like a one time only event, I think something that is universal, like for example, a cape, like in RuneScape, there's a fire cape, right? Everybody knows what it is. It's iconic. If there was something to signify like all the hard work and things like that in a special one-time event, I think that'd be really cool.
Absolutely. We'll see. I'm worried about FOMO. I'm worried about FOMO personally. I mean, I had so much fun with this stuff, and this guy's subtlety, his story exists in my head because of this type of event. But is it worse for other players to not be able to get something? Like, would someone feel disincentivized to play the game if they can't go get that thing that you have? I don't know. As a game design pillar, it's
I think you could adjust like how Scarab Lord is. And is it the 12-hour, 8-hour war? What is it? The 12 or 8?
10.
After and they got 10. Sorry, I was in between. And like just make stuff like that longer.
Yeah.
Because if it's a 10-hour war, that could be a time where I just couldn't play those 10 hours.
But like
We could
the bug mount,
2 days.
you can only get the bug mount if you ring the gong during the thing.
I think that's okay, but maybe you make those events more frequent, not like every month or week, right? But you make more events like that throughout where people get an opportunity. But I think big stuff like that, like I think Prestige is cool.
I agree.
And like if Classic Plus is supposed to be forever and not seasonal, which I think we all are preferring it's forever, right? Then Prestige is super cool. Sorry, my cat wanted to pet it there.
This kind of stuff exists in
super
RuneScape,
cool.
right, G-Bay? Like the seasonal servers, or what are they called that they... I forget what they're called.
Oh, you mean yeah, like their special game modes. And,
Yeah, and then can't you get like transmogs or something like that? Like certain items only from having played that then goes into the main game?
yeah, I think they're mostly cosmetics, and I actually haven't done one of them myself. But they're like trophies that you can put up in your house to show other players, and I think there are some cosmetics that you can wear. That's actually one thing that surprised me a little bit about WoW is that there isn't a lot of bank space that you have, at least in Classic, whereas in RuneScape you have, hundreds and hundreds of things that are just your fashionscape outfits that, oh, I wear this when I'm farming, I wear this when I'm running agility, I wear this when I'm mining, I wear this when I'm doing this activity. And yeah, maybe that's, I guess, going back to Transmog a little bit, I can understand a little bit of the argument of Transmog if
Apologies to our listeners and viewers out there. Like y'all could already probably tell, the audio got pretty scuffed on the latter half of this episode. Unfortunately, y'all could hear G-Bay's voice going out pretty bad here. It did get to a point where we couldn't salvage it, but luckily it cleared up a minute ahead. We did change topics though. So what you're going to hear now is us talking about our favorite parts of G-Bay's WoW Classic videos.
It was the Varian Rin one. We're like, I can't wait to see the end of this quest line. And I was like...
Yeah, that one I actually didn't know, though.
Got something.
I had no idea. Like, there are certain things that I've heard over the years just by, Blizzard being such a loud voice in the gaming industry. Like, one thing I said in my Warcraft 3 video was I complained that they changed Furian's name to Malfurion.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, why don't retcon stuff, Blizzard? Because I'd always heard that Blizzard likes to retcon stuff, so I sort of played that as a joke a bit. But oftentimes I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm kind of taking a stab in the dark at like sometimes I'm thinking, oh, I'm going to make this comment because this is either going to be funny because
it will maybe reference something I think it references, or it's going to make me look like an idiot, and then it'll be funny because of that.
It's funny no matter what, but I think it also like it's this beautiful way to get interaction in your videos that I think is pretty brilliant.
Genius.
Yeah, and it's really subtle because it doesn't because I mean we do this for a living, and even I'm not sure, which is like gorgeous.
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay. All right. I think we're gonna try to wrap this up. We've had internet issues, and I'm sorry. We're gonna fix it for the next one, but it's recorded, so this will get posted to YouTube, and everything will be fine. Let's do one last quick segment that we're gonna be calling One Cool Thing, which is going to be. Let me go back to the 4-shot. Which is just going to be something that may or may not have to do with the game that we wanted to just share with the community. Because I feel like we talk about the game a lot and we don't really learn a lot about each other. And sometimes you just want to hang out with the bros. So, I don't know, Ren, you want to start?
Sure. My cool thing that I want to discuss is that recently I've been getting into Magic the Gathering. If you don't know me, I'm actually training for the Chicago Marathon under St. Jude Children's Hospital. So I'm trying to fundraise for the Chicago Marathon. And I thought it'd be fun to start a run club centered around trading card games. And I was actually thinking of partnering with Aya, who made a run club about WoW. So we were thinking about maybe doing something for BlizzCon, which is coming up in September. And also, there was a recent leak that Dungeons and Dragons and WoW may be collabing. So because of that, there is speculation that Magic might collaborate with WoW. So that's my cool thing.
That'd be awesome.
That's a couple cool things, but we're into it.
Sorry. They all like
How
tied
dare
into
you
each
break
other.
format? Jared, do you want to go?
Yeah, you want to go, Dirty? It sounds so enthused. My cool thing was it's not nearly as cool as Ren's, but I went to this Classic Games Fest in Austin, and I met some heroes of mine. Like before it was World of Warcraft, it was Mario, and I played every single Mario game up on every single Nintendo system. And I met Charles Martinet, who is the voice of Mario, and he's done doing that. Actually, he did his last game, I think, this year. And it was so awesome. He actually, hold on, let me get it. He signed this Mario plush I had when I was a kid. Signed it right there.
Aw.
He was super cool to
Where
me.
did you
He was
post?
so nice.
Oh yeah, here we go.
So I met Charles Martinet, voice of Mario.
Is that
and
him?
then I also.
Oh, it's this
Which
guy.
one? I
It's
can't
this
say.
guy. Oh,
Yeah.
you can't see the stream. Sorry.
Yeah.
This is this guy with the Mario
And then
shirt on, at least.
Yes. And then I also met a YouTuber I've watched since I was 12 years old, and that was the angry video game nerd, James Rolfe.
Yeah.
He was there, and that was badass. And he's such an introvert, but he's so nice. And I talked shop with them about. I watched him. I actually got my first girlfriend ever because we both talked about his YouTube channel. We both watched it. And then a
That is
bonus, and I don't know why he was.
story. Holy.
And then a bonus was Grant Kirkhope was there, which he should have been promoted more because he's awesome. He's a video game composer. He wrote the DK rap for Donkey Kong 64. He wrote music for Banjo Kazooie, and he also recently wrote music for WoW. He wrote In the War Within for the Nerubians. He wrote one of the Revendreth soundtracks for Shadowlands, and he wrote the Maldraxxus soundtrack for Shadowlands. And like, he's an avid WoW fan. And he told me about how he played back in Vanilla, TBC, Wrath, Kata. Took a break after that a little bit, but still plays. And it was just so cool to talk shop on like who's still there, because Derek Duke's still there, and he's an OG music director since 04. And there's still like staff that were, on the team that are still there now. And it was just super cool to geek out and talk to all these guys. Super cool convention too. There's so many nerds and people there, and they were all just so nice. It just felt like everyone just loved it. It was so cool.
Where was this again exactly?
It was a convention called Classic Games Fest in Austin, Texas.
Okay, nice. Did you go to DreamCon?
I did not.
Mm.
I keep forgetting. Every year I said I'm going to go, and I don't.
I heard DreamCon was incredible. Well, cool, dude. I'm glad you got to see all that stuff.
Very fun.
I'll be in Austin in August, by the way.
Maybe we'll hang out finally.
Yeah.
I'll be in Austin soon-ish.
Okay.
I don't know. I basically live there part-time.
All right, G-Bay, what we got?
Yeah, so the one thing that I'm obsessed with right now that I'm preaching to everybody about is Warcraft, but beyond Warcraft, my one cool thing that's my obsession is automatic wristwatches. I've had this theory for a while that people need like talismans in their life to ground them, to give some sense of purpose. Like people, ages ago in the Middle Ages, it used to be like a family Bible people would pass down, and plenty of people nowadays, they might have a grandparent that passes down a wedding band to them, or maybe like a piece of cast iron that their family has had for generations. But one of the coolest things, in my opinion, are wristwatches, because so much of life is built to be disposable now. You buy a phone that's designed to break after a certain period of time. Everything is designed to be something you consume and then throw away. And one of the few things that still exists in the world that you can buy that is meant to outlive you is an automatic watch. It's something that an automatic watch never needs a battery change. It's something that you can keep the rest of your life and then pass down to a friend or child, and then they'll keep it the rest of their life. It's amazing to me, the permanence, but it's a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Oh God, it destroys your wallet if you ever get into it. I mean, it's like magic, or it's like, golf or one of the other hobbies that people pick up as an adult that they just spend so much money on. So be warned if you ever step into it, but it's a rabbit hole that never ends if you like learning about stuff.
You're somebody who
I love the talisman. That's so cool.
You wave your wrists a lot when you talk, and when you're wearing a watch, do you ever does the weight ever? I don't know, see.
Oh, the weight's never a problem for me.
Good.
And if it is a problem, you can get a titanium watch.
I guess you're
which is even more
6'5", so you're
resistant and even lighter.
You're pretty huge. Yeah, I've been looking at getting one after I saw your video, which I'm playing on screen right now, and you might have made the greatest selling marketing video for watches as a whole that has ever existed. They should be paying you millions and millions and millions of dollars as an industry. It's really good. I'm gonna link it in the chat if you guys haven't seen it, and we'll post it down below. But highly recommend it. How does your wife feel about all this?
Oh, I mean, she is surprisingly supportive and
that's
gives a sigh, but she's grateful that I haven't blown all the family savings on a watch, because oh God, they can get so expensive.
I feel like at least with a watch, it's a tangible item versus just gaming where you're just staring at a screen. It's harder to, if you don't understand something, it's harder to get into. Gaming is not the easiest hobby to relate with, but watches, I think it might be. Does she game?
Yeah, not as much ever since we had a child, but she's currently getting really into Slay the Spire.
Oh, nice.
She's
great game.
One or two?
One right now. She's playing on the Switch.
Okay, nice.
Because 2 is still in the beta, right, on Steam.
Yeah, I think so.
But yeah,
2 is really good. It's just 1 is a nearly perfect game. It's hard to beat. Slay the Spire and Balatro are 2 perfect games of that genre. Okay, we keep going on tangents. I'm sorry, I can't keep myself focused. My one cool thing is, and so a lot of you have already DM'd me about it, but I've been obsessed with Dungeon Crawler Carl. I don't know if you guys have read any of this or heard of this book series, but it's essentially what would happen if Earth became a dungeon and we all became elevated dungeon crawlers. and it recently just got picked up by Seth MacFarlane from Family Guy to produce a TV show, which is very exciting. He's the perfect guy for that tone. I'm now on the book 8. It's been like 2 months since I got it, and I've burned through 7 books in 2 months, so it's been insane. Yeah, I highly recommend it. I keep calling it boy slop, which is kind of what Ready Player One felt like. But it's a little better than that, I think. And in the beginning, I was like, what's the point of this? And then some of the mystery starts to unfold, and I definitely recommend it. It's fun. And the characters are really, really good. There's a guy in his boxers, and then a talking cat, and they get into a lot of hijinks. Her name's Princess Donut, and she is everybody's spirit animal. Okay, so yeah, I think that's it for us. Sorry about the tech issues. Thank you everybody for being here. We're gonna post this to YouTube, and and all the other things, and we will dial ourselves in. But this is our first episode. Thank you to Wowhead for partnering with us, and a massive thank you to G-Bay for being just so kind in dealing with my shit and Jerdy's shit and Ren's beautifulness. And thanks, man, so much. I appreciate it.
Thanks for being 6'5".
Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me. I mean, it's been a pleasure, and I mean, it feels like I missed the boat in not playing WoW as a kid, and so it's so fun to dive into it now and talk about it with other people. I could go on for hours.
Yeah, well, when it's so interesting because your perspective is just so much narrower than ours, and so I'm trying not to like ruin stuff when we talk, because I don't want to spoil anything, and I want you to enjoy that. So.
Yeah. I had to hold myself on stuff I wanted to say, so I wanted him to discover it.
Because we all respect it so much. We respect it so much. We want,
Dude, stop getting distracted. Keep playing. Don't play the Warcraft. Play WoW.
Yeah, exactly. You gotta get to 60.
I want to see. I literally say I want to see what happens next. I want to know where you go next.
Okay. Well, that's it. Thank you guys. We will do a little thingy and see you guys next week. Our guest next week is Ompy, and we're gonna really get into the nitty gritty of Endgame. And after that, we've got some exciting guests, and then we're gonna do a live taping at BlizzCon, which will be fun. So, all right, thanks guys. Have a good one. Bye.
Thanks for watching.
Bye,